Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Sri Vaheguru Ji Ke Fateh. Welcome viewers to another episode of the Health and Wellness Show on the SIKH Channel. I'm Ravi Suman, and joining us today is Ricky Singh, who is the founder of Supply Life. And Ricky, it's wonderful having you with us today, and
Thank,
welcome to the SIKH Channel.
thank you, Ravi. Sat Sri Akal to everyone. Thank you for taking time out and spending some time with us today. And Ravi, thank you for inviting me to your show, and hopefully we can help our viewers and the Sangat out there in getting our message out for having good health and well-being, and how important food is in that big part of our day-to-day life.
Absolutely. And now, more than ever, with the global pandemic and people asking about how they can strengthen their immunity, talking about the respiratory system, which obviously is one of the problems that you have when you have coronavirus. So, your line of expertise is food intolerance and the health of the stomach, the gut, which is fascinating. So
Thank you.
how did you get involved in this?
So, Ravi, I suffered with my stomach for many years, and I think it came to a point where it became day to day. But it got to a point in my life where I had to do it. I had to do something about it. So going to the doctors was the first protocol. They diagnosed me with IBS. So like a lot of people that suffer with IBS or have stomach issues kind of accept it as just a digestive issue, and you kind of learn to kind of push forward with it. Um, for me, I want to kind of learn more and find out what was causing the issues and what side effects it has. Yes, you have your day-to-day side effects of cramps, and you get an upset stomach, and later on you might maybe go to bed early, or but you might feel tired. But long-term wise, there are other side effects too. So for me, I wanted to learn more about the stomach, what was causing the IBS, or what the issues were. So I went down that journey of understanding that whole concept and learning about food. Um, I knew there was some testing out there. So like often people have an assumption that there's allergy, like an allergy test, which is great. Allergy is on the outside. And if you think of an intolerance, which is an IgG, this is on the inside. So it's very important that what damage is getting done on the inside, we kind of look to fix that ASAP, because later on that could lead to other problems. So I went down that whole path myself. I'd come across a laboratory which got um, fantastic research, I want to say, and the equipment that they have got in regards for testing. And they showed me, obviously, first of all, showed me for me what was interesting, that these are the foods that are causing my stomach problems. And then later on, we discovered how we can make this available to people on a home testing perspective. So rather than going up and down the country and finding someone that can take your blood sample and find out what foods are causing your problem, we work together so we could do it at the comfort of people's home, and how people can improve their gut health and see the long-term benefits from that.
Okay, so when you say IBS, you refer to irritable bowel syndrome.
Yes. So IBS, it means it's a blanket word. Let's look at it as digestive issues. If you feel as if you're bloating, if you ever have food and then afterwards your stomach gets swollen or it bloats, you have stomach cramps. Sometimes it relates to skin, other times it relates to sleep. If you have them issues, then there are chances that the food that you are consuming is going inside your gut, causing you a problem. And obviously, your gut is not liking what you've put in there. That then has a full domino effect. So if you look at food giving you energy, when you consume something that's bloating you, your body is using all its energy to get that food out, and this is where we get bloating, and this is why we start to fatigue, and then that has the whole domino effect. I mean, look at it from a day-to-day perspective. If you're having lunch and then you have a stomach cramp or you're bloating and you can't focus properly, that in itself is not an experience that you should be living of every day. And you should be enjoying your dinner, feeling energetic, and be happy and be charged to take the day on.
Okay. And in terms of enjoying your dinner, so why is it that we have the intolerance? Because how often do we come across times when people say, "Oh, don't put milk in my tea or my coffee because my stomach can't take it," or you know what, I love bread, but I can't eat it because it just bloats me. So why is it these things happen to us?
So we're not born with intolerances. So like it was interesting that you asked that question. Um, yeah, we're not born with them. We end up having these intolerances for many reasons. If I look at the first few measures, it's the case of we're having vaccines. It could be from fast food itself. It could be medication. So all these parts play. All these measures take a part in our stomach. So even if you look at antibiotics, anyone that has been taking antibiotics normally suffers a bad stomach. That affects our immune system. So when we are consuming foods, there's particles from the food that enter our bloodstream, and when it enters our bloodstream, our immune system, so let's call it the IgG, our immunoglobulin, it recognizes these foreign bodies or these foreign food particles into our bloodstream, and it feels it's under threat. At this point, there, your immune system then goes into defense and it tries attacking these foreign objects or foreign food particles out. And this is the first part of bloating. So then, at this point, your stomach swells up, your microbiome inside your gut is open, and then obviously you've got other food particles that enter that stream too. At this point, you could have one or two side effects. It'd be the case of a swollen belly and you run to the bathroom. Sometimes people suffer constipation. But if you look at it from your body absorbing nutrition from that food, it won't absorb any nutrition from that food because purely it's recognized as something that it doesn't like. And this is why if you're having foods every day, you're suffering with bloating or constipation or diarrhea every day, your body then doesn't absorb the nutrition, and then the side effects from that. Then I'm not saying you become malnourished, but if you think about good fuel into your body, you're going to be a lot healthier and you have a stronger immune system. But if you're consuming foods that's upsetting your stomach every day, is not going to absorb all the nutrition from that food, and therefore you're not going to have a strong immune system.
Okay. So with nutrition, I know we'll cover veg and non-veg food, and you've done some interesting research into types of protein sources, which the viewers would especially find interesting, especially with the trend towards people trying a vegan diet or vegetarian
Yeah,
diet. So fiber, it's something that we see on cereal packets. We see that on wheat products. How important is fiber in our daily diet?
I think, and this is my opinion, I think consuming vegetables and fruit every day are very, very important. If anything, I know people go out and be like, right, I want to have loads of protein. You see a lot of people nowadays at the gym that they more focus on how much protein intake they have. Fibers are just as important. If you look at Even if you look at just vegetables as a whole, they help your digestive system process the foods. And then if you look at fruits, again, they help. So if you separate the two, yes, you've got insoluble and you've got soluble. The pair of them work together. And if you're not consuming enough fruits or fibers or vegetables, you're slowing the digestive system down, and which has side effects. So just to put it in the perfect perspective is like to make our stomach or our ecosystem work efficiently. And when I mean efficiently, for your stomach to digest food correctly, absorb all the nutrition, give you energy, protect you, support your immune system, we need to be consuming these foods and a lot of vegetables on a day-to-day perspective. So not just having one meal with some vegetables. In the perfect world, your 3 to 4 meals per day should contain a lot of vegetables and again fruits too.
Okay, so 3 to 4 meals per day. Now, as more and more people are starting to return to the office, to the shop floor, to the places of work, not everyone can get 3 to 4 servings of fruit and veg every day. There's
True.
that trend where you probably have easily less than 30 minutes or an hour for your lunch break when you're working. So, how
Yeah.
else can we get these important phytochemicals that you get in vegetables and other fruits?
Well, I think you've got to take it as a priority. I think everybody has 24 hours in a day, and I look at it as a scenario. We make time in our teeth. Now, if we skip brushing our teeth for one day, you can get by and do it the following day. You do that if you go several days without brushing your teeth. Eventually, that plaque will build up, and then from there, it leads to gum disease, and therefore you can have cavities and so forth. So, if you look at it from a gut health perspective, if you're not focusing or not prioritizing eating the right amount of foods and getting the right amount of nutrition per day, and especially making sure you're avoiding the fast food, because it's all good and well that you're very busy and you're picking something up which is processed, but if you're doing that every day and then them years build up, what you're pushing for is your digestive system to break down, having constantly inflamed gut, and that can lead to other diseases. So you mentioned about fibers, how important fibers are. It's a fact that by consuming fibers, it minimizes um, diseases or chronic diseases. So if you're not doing them things, you're putting yourself in a position where you are opening up the chances of potentially having a disease. And this is just my opinion. Um, we never had that so much fast food like it is today. Going back previous generations, people are now using companies that deliver fast food to their workplace. They spend 5 or 10 minutes and waiting 40 minutes for their food. All they need to do is maybe invest the night before 30 minutes whilst they're making dinner in the evening, or invest that time in the morning, and they can get a healthy 2 to 3 meals. Take it with them. Contains loads of vegetables. Got great carbohydrates like potatoes, rice, sweet potato, and you can have loads of energy just by making the right choices.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you for that. You're getting us hungry as well by talking about that lovely food, and I'm starting to visualize now vegetables on a plate of different colors, which is interesting. As simple as it sounds, vegetables of different colors, but with these different colors in the vegetables, it gives you different minerals or serves different functions. Is that correct?
Yeah, so if you look at, you don't want to be eating the same food every day. So let's hypothetically speaking, all you're doing is eating the same source of vegetable, same source of protein, and the same source of carbohydrate every day. Genetically, me and you are very similar. So we got eyes, we got nose, we got mouth. Genetic formula, that's great. If you look at internally, our stomach, our microbiome is made up with so many different microbiomes. It's very important that we keep all of them active. And the only way we can do that is having great variation within our diet. So eating the same food every day in, day out, you'll have certain part of your microbiome that become redundant, and then the ones that get used every day become tired. So if you think of the question what you said about how important it is to have different colors, first of all, from a microbiome perspective, is that you want optimum health in your gut. So by consuming different vegetables, your gut health is running at optimum level. All the microbiome is absorbing all the nutrition, your stomach's working efficiently, fantastic. And then it's just a case of, as you mentioned about fibers, you have different fibers, you have different amino acids coming from that, and everything will function a lot better for you.
Okay, so talking about food, fibers, you have customers who are veg and non-veg. Have you found any patterns in the health of the stomach based on them being vegetarian or non-vegetarian?
Um, it's interesting. I'd love to say is an easy answer for this, but unfortunately, it's not. Um, because of intolerances, it's a massive field out there. Like no human being is the same. Our intolerances are so different because of the environment that we've been in, the lifestyle that we live. Even looking at traveling perspective. So like there's times when people have traveled to different countries, have taken different vaccines, and there could be different lifestyles. Some that consume alcohol, but they are vegetarian, and there's others that are not vegetarian that don't consume alcohol. So the difference between the two and the veg and the non-veg, I think it comes down to what your diet consists of. Often we see people that are intolerant to wheat grain and gluten, and we see that both on veg and non-veg. Dairy is now becoming more common in intolerances, and this pattern you can see is changing. So what I found is that people from the United States of America had food intolerances, a number of intolerances compared to the people in Brits. And then when you go towards over in like the Mediterranean countries, which again their diet consists of more fruit and vegetables and less fast food, they had less intolerances than the people in Britain. Um, so yeah, it's a tricky answer, um, but if you do focus on the actual question itself, there isn't a difference as such. I think it all comes down to the type of food that we consume. If we're consuming foods that are processed, so for example, bread, which is common, these ingredients that are in bread will have the side effects. You look at preservatives, you look at gluten, you look at wheat. I know wheat's changed over the years. I know wheat was it was a staple part of our diet. Being Punjabi, we'd have roti every day, and it was a very great prebiotic. Going back many years ago, I look at our previous ancestors and generations before that, they had roti every day, and it did really good. But in today's time, because it's processed so fast and they harvest it with many pesticides, that's affected the genetic formula or the gene in the wheat grain itself, making it carry more gluten, is now causing a problem in the human gut.
Roti and foods from Asia, especially India. So, in your experience, how has the quality of that food changed over the years?
Wow. I hope I should say we've got an hour or two for this, Ravi. Um, let's look at it from. I want to kind of picture. Let's kind of keep it straightforward. If you look at our ancestors, how long do you reckon they lived up to? Let's just put a ballpark figure. Let's go back 2 generations and to today's generation. Do you think, or do you know, they lived a longer life than now?
Well, when I look at my grandparents, they lived easily 80 plus.
Yeah. And in today's time, the average age of lifespan in today's time.
Well, sadly, we're seeing news of people in our generation and younger who are having health problems, and unfortunately, they don't live that long.
Yeah.
Not all
And
of
like
them.
even if you look at like even in not in just Punjabi cultures, just culture in general, cancers were unheard of going back many years ago. Now it's becoming more common. And like going back to food, what's changed from now and the previous generations is food. It's the quality of food that you'd had back then. Even when you go to India now, I find like a tomato has more flavor. It goes off a lot quicker. So if you have a tomato over here, you could leave it in the fridge for a week and it doesn't even go off. You do that in India, it just wouldn't happen. Um, so yes, so the food quality back in India right now is better than what we have over in Great Britain. But I think previous generations had better quality of food. So going back to wheat grains, going back to the vegetables. I mean, a lot of Punjab was like non like they weren't meat eaters. They were a lot of vegetarians, and they lived a longer life. They had good quality of food, and it's just a shame now that this process of food is changing everybody. Lifespans are changing, and then people are suffering with bloating and cancers and different diseases, um, and again suffering with their stomach. So yeah, I think like Punjabis, we're good in the sense that we use onions and garlic every day and haldi, which is great for our digestive system. Um, but the quality of it is changed. So Yes, it's. I wish we can go back to India right now and go back a few generations and enjoy that goodness.
Okay, that's fascinating. And so it just makes me wonder that the next time anyone's in India and they taste a roti there, or they have any Indian food there, to compare it to the taste here, or do you think there'll be some differences? I know from my experience, the spices are definitely strong in India, which is why, I can't tolerate much spice anyway because it's just been like that. But I find that the spices there are a lot stronger. I can have the spice here, but not there. So do you find that there's going to be some type of quality of food in Indian
I'm
foods, that is?
Yeah, I think like in quality of food from Punjab or India itself, you're definitely going to see a difference. It's more organic, and when I say organic, it has it's done less traveling, it's less preservatives in there. I mean, if you look in your fridge right now, Ravi, and look at the ingredients that are in your fridge right now, so even if you look at your vegetables, your apples, more than likely they're going to be imported in. So you'll find some that come from Spain, others come from Chile. Whereas over in India, if you're in Punjab right now, you know if you're having a tomato or if you're having some mooli for your paratha in the morning, um, more than likely the farmer down the road was farming it. It's
Mm.
travel less. We've got less pesticides in it, and obviously it's delivered to your door a lot sooner than traveling the other side of the world.
Okay. Okay, this is great information and very useful. And so we're going to have you back with us in a follow-up episode to continue this subject, which I'm sure many viewers are going to have questions on, which will feed back. And to the viewers, if there's any questions, you can always contact us at info@sikhchannel.tv. So the email address is info@sikhchannel.tv. If you just mark it for the attention of the Health and Wellness Show. And Ricky, we have a few minutes left. Just before we conclude this particular discussion, anything you want to leave the audience with so they can reflect before we meet again?
Um, let's focus on our gut health. Um, if we can make food, and if we can make food the medicine, in the sense of eating the right foods for a good optimum health, let's focus on doing that. Let's avoid foods that causes inflammation. So listen to your gut. If you find that when you eat certain foods gives you a bad stomach, focus on what them foods are and try to avoid them. Um, Ask questions. So email Ravi, and I'm more than happy to answer them, and I'm more than happy to help and assist you guys. But on the note of food and health and well-being, let's focus on the vegetables. Get as many foods in as possible. To get as many vegetables in your diet as possible. Yeah, like I said to you, health is very very important to us right now, especially going through the pandemic. Let's focus on our immune system. Let's not put stress on our gut by eating fast food. Let's support our gut. Let's improve our gut health. Eat foods that we're designed to eat. So as long as it comes from the root or it's growing, go for it. If it's processed, let's leave it there.
Okay. All right. Well, Ricky Singh, thank you so much, founder of Supply Life, sharing some insight and information there on the health of the stomach and helping you get a stronger immune system. So, viewers, we will meet again. And until then, please stay safe and healthy. And Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Sri Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.